Have you ever felt like something is pressing against your chest at night and you can't explain why? Have you ever walked into a room and suddenly felt your energy drain, as if something invisible just latched onto you? That creeping feeling where your mind is awake, but your body feels bound, almost as if something is sitting on you. You tell yourself it's nothing, you try to shake it off, but deep down you know something is not right. What if I told you right now there are signs that witchcraft could be tormenting you, signs you've ignored, explained away, or brushed off as coincidence, when in reality, it's the unseen hand of darkness trying to sabotage your life? One of the first signs is when your sleep no longer feels like rest. Night after night, you're waking up exhausted. You dream of shadows, serpents, strange figures chasing you, or you feel pressed down as if something is stealing your breath. That's not just bad sleep, that's torment, that's the spiritual battlefield showing up in your most vulnerable state. When witchcraft touches you, your peace at night is the first to be attacked, because if you can't rest, you can't fight. Then you notice your emotions. Without warning, heaviness descends on you. You wake up fine, but suddenly depression hits, anxiety cripples, or rage boils up inside you without reason. Witchcraft doesn't just attack the body, it poisons the mind. You start questioning your worth, doubting your value, and even contemplating giving up when a day ago you were fine. That's not natural fluctuation, that's manipulation. That's torment pulling strings in your emotions, trying to make you destroy yourself. Your relationships begin to fracture. Friends turn against you, family members misunderstand you, and people you once trusted become hostile for no clear reason. When curses are sent against you, they don't just aim at you, they aim at your connections, isolating you, leaving you feeling abandoned and defenseless. That isolation is not random. It's a weapon designed to weaken you so the torment can go deeper. Then your health takes a hit. Strange pains come and go. Doctors can't find a cause. One day you're fine, the next day you're bedridden with fatigue or mystery ailments. It's as if your body is carrying a weight that can't be measured by medical tests. Witchcraft torment often shows up in the physical because your body is the temple of your spirit, and if they can weaken the body, they hope to weaken the spirit. Your finances suddenly dry up, money slips through your fingers, opportunities vanish, doors slam shut with no explanation. It feels like every time you're about to succeed, something invisible pulls it away at the last moment. This isn't just bad luck. Consistent blockage, constant loss, and never being able to hold on to what you've earned is a clear sign that something unseen is siphoning your blessings. Another sign is when objects in your environment feel strange. You hear whispers at night, things fall without explanation, shadows dart in the corner of your eye. Items in your home break repeatedly or carry an atmosphere that feels oppressive. You may not see the source, but you feel it. Your space becomes a battlefield, and you sense that you're not alone, even when no one is around. Your spiritual life gets attacked next. Suddenly, it's hard to pray. You open your Bible or try to connect with God, and your mind goes blank, distracted, or heavy. You feel unworthy to speak His name, as if something is blocking your voice. Witchcraft knows that if it can choke your connection to faith, it can control the rest of your life. That constant resistance when you try to grow spiritually is not an accident, it's targeted sabotage. You also start to notice patterns of constant accidents and chaos, things always going wrong at the last second, random misfortunes stacking up against you. You lose keys, miss deadlines, have accidents, or technology consistently breaks at the worst possible moment. This isn't just carelessness, it's engineered disorder designed to exhaust you, confuse you, and make you quit. And finally, You sense eyes on you, not in paranoia, but in reality. You walk into rooms and feel watched. You hear your name whispered in empty spaces. People confess later they've dreamt of you in strange ways, as if you've been pulled into realms you didn't consent to. That spiritual awareness you keep pushing aside isn't paranoia, it's discernment. It's the sign that witchcraft is circling you right now. The truth is, torment doesn't always come with a label. It doesn't knock politely at your door. It creeps in through the night, through your emotions, through your relationships, your health, your finances, your very peace. And while others may laugh, dismiss, or explain it away, you know deep down when something unnatural is at work in your life. The question is, will you recognize the signs before the torment consumes you, or will you rise, call it out for what it is, and fight back with everything in you? Because the moment you expose the darkness, you take away its power to hide. You know when your body is begging for sleep, but the moment you close your eyes, peace doesn't come. Instead, something darker steps in. Night after night, you're tossing, turning, jolting awake in fear. Sometimes you feel like you're being pressed down, pinned to your bed, unable to move or even call for help. You dream of shadows chasing you, serpents slithering toward you, or figures standing at the corner of your room, watching. You wake up drenched in sweat, your heart pounding, and even though you tell yourself it was just a dream, deep down you know it was more than that. Because sleep is supposed to heal you, to restore you, to give you strength for the next day. But when your nights leave you drained instead of renewed, when every morning feels like you've been in a battle you don't remember fighting, that's not just restless sleep, that's torment. That's the unseen hand trying to weaken you where you're most defenseless. And here's the truth, when your rest is stolen, your clarity, your focus, your resilience, and your fight are stolen with it. That's why the first strike often comes in the night, because if they can rob you of rest, they can rob you of power. And you need to recognize when your bed has stopped being a place of peace and has become a battlefield, and then it moves into your emotions. One moment you're fine, you're steady, you're in control, and then out of nowhere, a heaviness drops on you like a weight you can't shake. You start to feel anxious for no reason, your heart races, your mind spins, and you can't even explain why. Or suddenly, anger flares up inside you, explosive, destructive, and it makes no sense because nothing triggered it. That's not random, that's not just mood swings, that's manipulation. Witchcraft knows that if it can twist your emotions, it can twist your choices, your words, and your relationships. It can make you doubt yourself, make you believe lies about who you are, make you question your worth until you feel so low you start thinking of giving up. And here's the dangerous part, it makes you believe those feelings are yours when they're not, that darkness wants you to own them, to carry them, to let them define you. But you have to stop in that moment and ask yourself, is this me, or is this something trying to control me? Because the second you realize those emotions don't belong to you, you take back your authority, and you refuse to let torment drive your life. And then you start noticing it in the people around you. Suddenly, relationships that were once solid begin to fracture. Friends who always had your back now seem distant or even hostile. Family members misunderstand you. Arguments break out over nothing. And the people you thought you could lean on suddenly turn their backs. You feel isolated, cut off, as if a wedge has been driven between you and everyone you love. That's not coincidence. That's by design. Witchcraft doesn't just come after you. It comes after your connections, because your strength often comes from the people who stand with you. If they can isolate you, if they can make you feel abandoned, if they can convince you that you're all alone, then they weaken your defenses. And in that isolation, torment grows louder, heavier, harder to fight. You start questioning who's real, who's against you, and if maybe you're the problem. But let me tell you this, it's not you. It's the attack designed to dismantle your support system. Because when they strip you of allies, they think they strip you of strength. But the truth is, the moment you recognize the pattern, you can refuse to let the attack define your relationships, and you can choose to fight back instead of retreating. And then it starts hitting your body. Out of nowhere, strange aches creep in, sharp pains that come and go with no explanation. You go to the doctor, run the tests, and they find nothing. Yet you feel it every single day. Fatigue wraps around you like chains, draining your strength until even the simplest tasks feel like climbing a mountain. One day you're fine, full of energy, and the next, it's like something has pulled the life right out of you. That's how torment works. It doesn't always leave visible scars, but it makes sure you feel broken from the inside out. Because your body is the vessel for your spirit, and if it can weaken the vessel, it hopes to silence the spirit. And here's where most people go wrong. They think it's just stress, just exhaustion, just something in their head. But you know when something feels unnatural. You know when the weight on your chest isn't just tiredness, but something pressing against your very existence. That's why you can't ignore it. Because when your health begins to collapse without cause, when your body is telling you something is off but the world says you're fine, that's not random, that's targeted. And the moment you realize it, you stop surrendering to the torment and you start reclaiming your strength, because your body is not meant to be a prison. It's meant to be a weapon. And then it strikes at your livelihood. Suddenly, the money you worked hard for seems to vanish into thin air. Opportunities you were certain about collapse at the very last second. Doors that were wide open slam, shut right in your face, leaving you stunned, wondering what went wrong. It's not that you're lazy. It's not that you're unqualified. It's not even that you're unlucky. Because luck doesn't explain a pattern of constant loss. You feel like something is draining your resources, stealing your progress, and blocking every path forward. That's not chance, that's sabotage. Witchcraft knows that if it can cut off your provision, it can choke your vision. Because when your finances are under attack, your dreams shrink, your confidence breaks, and your ability to build the life you deserve crumbles. And it's clever because it doesn't come all at once. It's little by little, paycheck after paycheck, deal after deal, until you're left wondering why nothing seems to hold together. But you need to see it for what it is, not failure, not incompetence, but a targeted assault on your abundance. And the moment you name it, the moment you refuse to accept that pattern as your reality, you stop playing the victim of the storm and start fighting to reclaim what's been stolen. And then it creeps into your environment, the place that should feel safe, the place that should be your sanctuary, suddenly carries a heaviness you can't explain. You walk into a room and the air feels thick, oppressive, as if someone else is there even though you know you're alone. Objects break for no reason. Things fall off shelves without anyone touching them. Shadows flicker in the corner of your eye. You tell yourself it's nothing, but you feel it. The atmosphere has shifted. That's how torment operates. It doesn't just follow you. It tries to invade your space, turning your home into a battlefield. Because if it can steal your peace in the one place you should feel most protected, it can keep you on edge, restless and unsettled. You might even hear whispers at night, footsteps where no one walks, or a coldness in the room that has nothing to do with the weather. That's not your imagination, that's intrusion, and the danger is when you ignore it, when you normalize the unease, when you accept that your home no longer feels like yours. But you have to confront it, Because the moment you allow torment to rule your environment, it will rule you. And your space, your home, was never meant to be a cage. It was meant to be a stronghold of peace. And then it goes after the very thing that anchors you, your spirit. You try to pray, and suddenly your mind feels foggy, scattered, distracted by 1,000 meaningless thoughts. You pick up your Bible, or try to focus on words that once spoke life into you, and now it feels heavy, almost impossible to absorb. You kneel to connect with God, and instead of peace you feel resistance, a weight pressing down on you, whispering that you're not worthy, that you're wasting your time, that no one is listening. That's not coincidence. That's intentional. Witchcraft doesn't just want to weaken your body or drain your emotions. It wants to choke your connection to the one who gives you power. Because if it can sever that lifeline, if it can convince you to stop reaching for God, then it knows it's won. Think about it. Why is it that every time you set your heart to pray, something distracts you? Why does your phone ring at that exact moment? Why does your mind wander? Why do you feel so restless? Because torment understands something many people don't. Your strength doesn't come from what you see. It comes from what you're connected to. And if it can stop you from tapping into that source, it can strip you of the very thing that makes you unshakable. And here's the subtle trick. It makes you think it's you. It makes you believe you're lazy, you're faithless, you're not strong enough. But that's the lie. It's not that you don't want to pray. It's that something doesn't want you to pray. It's not that you don't want to read the word. It's that something knows if you do, you'll unlock strength that will tear down every chain. That heaviness you feel in the moment you're about to connect with God, that's not weakness, that's warfare. And this is where you have to make a choice. You either give in to the resistance and let it silence you, or you fight through it, even if your voice shakes, even if your mind drifts, even if all you can say is one word, because one word spoken in faith carries more power than every curse whispered against you. And once you realize that the resistance is proof of your power, you stop doubting yourself and start recognizing the truth. The reason it fights you so hard is because it fears what happens when you rise up and refuse to stop. And then the chaos begins to follow you. Things that shouldn't go wrong suddenly do. Your car breaks down on the very day you need it most. Deadlines slip through your fingers, even when you were prepared. Accidents happen out of nowhere, and it feels like disorder is chasing you. One thing after another piles up until you're left drained, frustrated, and questioning if you're cursed. And that's exactly the point. Witchcraft loves chaos, because chaos makes you tired. Chaos makes you careless. Chaos makes you stop fighting. It's not always about destroying you in one blow. It's about wearing you down with 1,000 cuts until you no longer have the will to stand. You see, these patterns don't show up once. They repeat, again and again, the same cycle of loss, disruption, and misfortune. And when you notice it, you start to think maybe it's just who you are. Maybe this is just your life. That's how torment takes root, not just by attacking you, but by convincing you this madness is normal. But it's not normal, it's engineered, it's intentional. It's designed to cloud your judgment so you can't see straight, so you can't focus, so you give up on the very things meant to elevate you. And the most dangerous part is the timing. Notice how the setbacks always strike when you're closest to a breakthrough. That's not by chance, that's strategy, because if torment can get you to quit right before you step into something greater, then it wins without ever having to face your full strength. That's why you need to see the chaos for what it is, not just bad luck, not just life being unfair, but a calculated assault meant to break your rhythm, your consistency, your fight. And the moment you see it, the moment you stop accepting chaos as your identity, you take back the order, the clarity, and the control that torment thought it had stolen from you. You ever walk into a room and immediately feel eyes on you, even though nobody's there? That sudden chill that runs down your spine, that whisper in your mind telling you something is watching something you can't see, but you know is real. You shake it off, you laugh at yourself, you try to explain it away as imagination, but the truth is your spirit is picking up what your eyes can't. That awareness, that gut instinct, is not weakness, it's discernment. It's the part of you that knows when the unseen is brushing up against your reality. And when witchcraft is tormenting you, that feeling becomes more than occasional. It becomes constant. You feel it walking down the street, as if shadows are following you a step behind. You feel it in your own home, the hairs on your arm rising for no reason, the sense that someone is standing in the corner even when you're alone. You feel it when you sleep, that piercing sensation that you're being pulled into someone else's dream, summoned into spaces you never gave permission to enter. This isn't paranoia, this isn't you losing your grip. This is the spiritual realm pressing into your physical world, and your spirit, sharp, alive, alert, is warning you to pay attention. And here's the part most people miss. Torment doesn't always announce itself with destruction. Sometimes it begins with presence. The sense of being watched is the first step of intimidation, the enemy's way of reminding you that you're never alone, that eyes are on you even in silence. Because when you feel watched, you act differently, you second, guess yourself, you shrink your presence, you move with caution. Witchcraft wants to shrink you before it even touches you. It wants to convince you you're under surveillance, controlled, observed, until you live small and powerless without ever realizing its manipulation. Have you noticed how people sometimes tell you, "I had a strange dream about you"? They don't even know why they're saying it, but it's because your spirit was pulled into their sleep. They've been seeing you in places you didn't walk, hearing your voice in ways you never spoke. That's not coincidence. That's spiritual interference. When witchcraft targets you, it doesn't just attack your body, your emotions, or your environment. It reaches into the dreams of others to tamper with how you are seen, how you are remembered, how you are spoken about, because if they can control the perception of you, they can control the reality around you. And what makes this even more dangerous is how easy it is to dismiss. You tell yourself, "I'm just imagining things, I'm just tired, I'm just stressed." But deep down, you know the difference between fear your mind creates and fear your spirit detects. That deep gut punch of awareness, that sharpness you feel when something doesn't sit right, that's real. That's your spirit screaming at you, "Wake up, pay attention, this isn't normal." But when you ignore it, when you push it aside, you give torment room to expand. Think about this. How many times in your life did you know something was wrong, but you ignored it? You felt the energy in the room shift, but you smiled and carried on. You knew the person in front of you carried something off, but you stayed quiet. You felt watched at night, but you buried your head in the pillow and tried to sleep it off, and later you paid the price. That's how torment wins, by making you distrust your own discernment, by making you think you're crazy for feeling what's real. But here's the truth, you are not crazy. That voice inside you, that alarm ringing when something is off, that awareness in your bones, that's your shield. That's your advantage. Torment doesn't want you to trust it, because if you do, then you become impossible to manipulate. The very fact that you feel eyes on you, that you hear whispers in the silence, that you sense shadows where others see nothing, that's not weakness, that's evidence that your spirit is awake. And an awake spirit cannot be enslaved. Witchcraft thrives in secrecy, in shadows, in going undetected. But when you recognize its presence, when you call it out, when you say, I know you're here. I know what this is, and you will not own me. That's when its power begins to crumble. Because darkness can't operate in the light of awareness. The feeling of being watched stops being intimidation and starts being confirmation. You are valuable, you are powerful, you are a threat to the very forces trying to torment you. So, the next time that chill crawls up your spine, don't dismiss it. The next time you feel those invisible eyes, don't run from it. Stand taller, speak louder, claim your ground, because you are not being watched because you are weak. You are being watched because you are dangerous to the darkness. The torment isn't proof of your defeat, it's proof of your power. And the fact that they're circling you means you're carrying something they cannot control. And this is where everything shifts, the moment of recognition. Because the greatest weapon torment has over you is secrecy. It thrives when you don't see it, when you call it coincidence, when you accept it as just bad luck or normal life. But the second you expose it, the second you say, no, this isn't random, this is warfare, everything changes. Awareness is power. You cannot fight what you refuse to see, but once you see it, once you call it by name, it loses its hold on you. That's why the enemy works so hard to keep you blind, because the moment you recognize the pattern, the moment you understand what's really happening, you are no longer the victim. You are the warrior. Think about it. Every sign you've been facing, your restless nights, your heavy emotions, your fractured relationships, your failing health, your drained finances, your disturbed environment, your blocked prayers, your constant chaos, your sense of being watched, all of it connects. And when you step back and see the full picture, you realize it's not just random suffering, it's a strategy. And strategies can be broken, because once you know the enemy's moves, you can plan your counterattack. Recognition isn't just awareness, it's ownership. It's refusing to let torment write your story. It's looking at the signs and saying, you don't get to define me. You don't get to dictate my future. I see you. I know what you are, and I will not bow to you. That shift in mindset alone is enough to tear down the grip that's been suffocating you, because torment feeds on fear, on confusion, on silence. But it starves in the face of courage, clarity, and truth. And the truth is, the reason you're being attacked this hard is because of the power you carry. The reason torment is circling you is because it fears what happens when you finally wake up to who you are. Recognition doesn't just strip the darkness of secrecy, it ignites your authority. And the moment you step into that, the torment that once hunted you begins to tremble, because it knows it cannot control a person who has recognized their own strength. So when you look at all of this together, you begin to see the bigger picture. Torment is real, witchcraft is real, and the signs are there if you choose to open your eyes. It touches your nights, your emotions, your relationships, your health, your finances, your home, your spirit, your daily rhythm, and even the atmosphere around you, but only as long as you let it stay hidden. The moment you recognize it, the moment you stop dismissing it as coincidence, you strip it of its greatest weapon, secrecy. And here's what you need to hold on to. You are not powerless, you are not weak. The very fact that you feel this attack is proof that you are carrying something worth fighting for, something darkness cannot touch unless you hand it over. You don't fight torment by shrinking, you fight by standing, by naming it, by refusing to bow. Because the moment you stand in awareness and strength, the chains that once bound you break, and the torment that thought it owned you realizes it never did. You own your life, you own your spirit, and nothing seen or unseen can take that away.